I want to talk to you because you were the one person who had the one follower on YouTube that for some reason Blake Lively subpoenaed you. So
for me, the first red flag was just how the news even got out.
It almost feels like someone was tipping off Star to put some bad press out for Justin. That's the vibe I'm getting. You too?
Yeah, it was way too hard on me. It was causing too much stress and it was hard on my family. So I just had to end it. And then people are obviously just going to take her side and roll with it instead of looking at.
What if a single random YouTube subscriber somehow got you officially subpoenaed by Blake Lively?
I want to talk to you because you were the one person who had the one follower on YouTube that for some reason Blake Lively subpoenaed you. So
No, seriously, imagine uploading a tiny video, thinking maybe just your mom and cat will watch it, and suddenly Hollywood's elite are breathing down your digital neck. Welcome to Ken's world, darling. Populated with a bedazzled spatula and a legal team that has too much time and not enough chill. Blake Lively, yes, that Blake, queen of couture and perfectly curated Instagram posts, apparently decided that one Kansas content creator was threatening enough to unleash the legal hounds.
Why?
That's the million-dollar question, or perhaps the multi-million-dollar defamation suit. What happened next wasn't merely bizarre, it was deliciously suspicious. Just as Ken's modest little channel, existing to thrive, was starting to find its rhythm, she suddenly got swept into a media hurricane swirling with names like Justin Baldoni, Taylor Swift, and the meticulously calculated Ryan Reynolds PR machine. Coincidence? Please. This is Hollywood. They don't do coincidence. Every move is measured, every story curated, and suddenly, Ken was caught right in the center of it.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Why did Star get this first? It's almost, and Star's notorious sort of more gossip rag than most. It does feel like they were tipped off. Like I would say Star's worse than TMZ. Like TMZ's kind of an obvious, easy one, but it almost feels like someone was tipping off Star to put some bad press out for Justin. That's the vibe I'm getting. You too?
And if you thought this was just another online spat, oh honey, buckle up. This subpoena saga is barely the tip of the iceberg. What's lurking underneath is messier than Blake's entire skincare line. Picture this, a 2 a.m. break-in, a Hollywood darling, and a mystery man no one could trace. Sounds like the opening scene of a trashy Netflix thriller?
Nope.
This was real life, or at least it pretended to be. According to Star Magazine, yes, that's Star Magazine, the one still chasing Bat Boy in the sewers, a rogue process server allegedly scaled Blake Lively's fortress at 2 a.m. to serve her legal papers. Not a polite knock. Not a buzz. Not the law-abiding method we all expect. No, full-on Mission Impossible mode straight into the actress's private quarters. Because obviously, the best way to get someone to sign a subpoena is to traumatize them in their silk pajamas. Hollywood drama?
Check.
Legal chaos?
Check.
Bedazzled absurdity? Absolutely.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were also trying to confuse people because with Kansas City, our biggest news station is the Kansas City Star. So choosing Star Magazine starts to kind of confuse people of, oh, are they in relation to Kansas City Star in any capacity if people aren't aware of Star Magazine?
But here's where things started reeking of full-on stunt queen energy. Enter Ken, a local Kansas girl armed with receipts and zero patience for Hollywood theatrics. While the rest of us were side-eyeing from afar, Ken asked the question everyone should have. Why was New York media breaking Kansas news faster than anyone in Kansas? Blake lives near Kansas City. If anything remotely dramatic happened there, trust the locals would have lit up Facebook groups like Christmas lights. Instead, Star Magazine, yes, the dollar store cousin of TMZ, got the scoop first.
Odd, right?
And let's not forget the icing on this messy cake. Star Magazine's headquarters is a casual 6-minute stroll from Venable LLP, the law firm representing Blake. Right around the block, babes. Coincidence? Or convenient coffee run level proximity to leak a little gossip with your latte? It was giving manufactured mayhem, staged drama, and just enough Hollywood chaos to make Ken, and everyone watching, question the narrative entirely.
For me, the first red flag was just how the news even got out because we're in Kansas City, basically. Leewood's not too far off from Kansas City. We get the news within an hour. If there's anything happening in town, we know about it. So I would have been the first to know about it before some station in New York. So that was the first red flag for me. And then also it just being Star Magazine seemed like a very odd,
Yeah.
just the most random magazine you could possibly pick to have this exclusive. And so whenever I looked into, okay, well, where are they even located at? And it was in New York. I was actually already down the whole Van Sham lawsuit rabbit hole again. And that's when I noticed that the address that they have listed for the Venable, business that they have, it's 6 minutes away from Star Magazine's headquarters. They're literally right across the street from each other, like right.
But the deeper Ken dug, the more the story started to feel less like a break-in and more like a setup. If a celebrity supposedly gets attacked in Kansas and nobody in Kansas talks about it, did it even happen? Exactly. Here's the thing about Kansas City. It may not be Hollywood, but it has its own small-town tea culture. It's one of those places where if Travis Kelce sneezes, someone's aunt has already posted about it in the neighborhood Facebook group before the tissue hits the floor. Tight-knit, nosy, and proudly in everyone's business. That's the local vibe. So, when Star Magazine screamed about a break-in at Blake Lively's supposedly not-so-humble abode, locals side-eyed and sipped because not a single person in town had said a word. No whispers, no blurry ring cam footage, no local headlines, just Star Magazine with the scoop. And let's not forget, this wasn't even unprecedented. Last October, multiple Chiefs players had break-ins, and those were immediately all over local news. The community treats homegrown stars like family. So, if anyone so much as glances at Travis Kelce's property the wrong way, it's headline news before breakfast. Yet somehow, a celebrity break-in went completely silent locally, only to appear in a New York outlet. That's when Ken started raising eyebrows, and the skepticism grew.
I didn't go to the station, but I did email them as I was going through. But I noticed, for one, that so much of it was left blank, even some of the details. But one detail, they noted that there was no alcohol or drugs involved. So there wasn't the theory that this was a drunk server gone rogue, completely out the window. But then it also was labeled as an Code 88, which means it wasn't a hate crime. So the political theory kind of throws out the window too. And there's no name of Justin there. And when I reached out to confirm and be like, why isn't this name listed? Because all the reports are claiming that this is the person. They responded stating that they gave every single media outlet the exact same thing. So any outside information came from an outside source, not from them.
Now, here's where it gets especially messy. Star Magazine versus the Kansas City Star. Sounds similar, right? Almost like someone wanted to confuse the public, making it seem like this juicy expose came from the city's most trusted paper. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It came from the tabloid cousin that trades journalism for glitter glue and gossip.
So what do we have?
No local buzz, a sketchy tabloid exclusive, and a conveniently confusing name. Something didn't add up. But that's just the media playing fast and loose with the facts. When Ken got her hands on the actual police report, the drama was only just beginning. No booze, no Justin, no hate crime, just a whole lot of nothing. You'd think with all the screaming headlines, flashing sirens, and breathless reporting, the actual police report would be a bombshell, right?
Wrong.
It was about as explosive as flat diet soda. Ken, aka the Kansas Queen of Receipts, expected at least a few juicy details, a dramatic chase, a rogue process server with attitude, some hint of the chaos tabloids were drooling over. Instead, she got redacted pages and empty statements. The report read more like a blank Mad Libs than a criminal incident. And while the few included details were sparse, they made the whole story smell even fishier, leaving Ken and everyone following the saga raising serious questions about what really happened.
Given how terrible, go ahead.
Him with another guy from Missouri that is on the S-offender list, and he was booked the very next day, completely different state, not the same guy, but people
conveniently also named Justin.
No, the exact same name in full, Justin Lee Fisher.
Let's start with the biggest shocker. Justin wasn't mentioned at all. The guy half the media world had already convicted in the court of public opinion? Nowhere to be found. Not a whisper. It was as if some overzealous publicist with too much wine decided to Photoshop him into the narrative. And just in case anyone was clinging to the drunk server on a bender theory, The report made it clear. No alcohol, no drugs. That idea went straight into the trash. Thought it might be politically charged, maybe a hate crime?
Nope.
The incident was stamped code 88, meaning explicitly not bias-related. Another dramatic subplot dead on arrival. Here's the kicker. When Ken asked the department why Justin wasn't listed, the response was icy and precise. Every media outlet received the exact same report. So, wherever Justin came from, it wasn't from law enforcement. Let that sink in. Someone somewhere fed the press a very specific name that wasn't in any official documentation, and the media ran with it like gospel. Which begs the question, where did this Justin come from, and why him? 2 Justins, 1 story, 0 facts. Welcome to the Hollywood Hunger Games, where all you need is a common name and a scandal-hungry press to get dragged into chaos. Enter Justin Lee Fisher, suddenly cast as the villain in this alleged 2 a.m. suburban saga. The media didn't just suggest he was involved, they basically threw him on a wanted poster and hit publish. 1 minute he's living life quietly, the next he's a central figure in a story that, according to official records, never involved him. The discrepancy is glaring, the implications absurd, and the chaos entirely manufactured. Hollywood rumor mills never sleep, and this, darling, was their finest hour.
Move by Blake and Ryan to try to paint him negatively in the press?
I think so, just because of, the connections, 1 or 2, sure, but when you add everything up, it's just it's not counting to 4. And I keep going 50-50 on whether Taylor is involved or not, just because it seems oddly convenient that just a few days before this whole incident, she makes a statement, or her team makes a statement saying that her alleged stalker has gone rogue and is missing. And then, you have this incident. And then also with the Chiefs game where she has the bulletproof wall against her. If she was worried about her safety, for 1, she wouldn't have gone. And 2, she would have had her mom in that shield as well. Like, she wouldn't have just had her mom, not have a shield, because obviously if you're a fan, you know who her mom is. She's with her the whole time.
Tabloids went berserk. Influencers amplified it, and Reddit churned out more conspiracy threads than a Pinterest board ever could. Tiny detail, Justin Lee Fisher was arrested the next day, but in a completely different state.
Oops.
Turns out this Justin had real, unrelated legal troubles, but none of them had anything to do with Blake, a break-in, or any bougie Kansas mansion. He was just an unfortunate guy with a very Googleable name, suddenly thrust into a media circus he never auditioned for. A coincidence? Or the perfect scapegoat, troubled past, common name, already in custody, easy to smear, impossible to fact-check. Meanwhile, the actual Justin in question, Justin Baldoni, had zero connection to the break-in story. Nada.
Zilch.
Yet, whisper campaigns and TikTok theorists kept tossing his name into the chaos like it was the Met Gala. Thankfully, the YouTube investigators weren't buying it. Ken Lauren, court of random opinion, confirmed it all. Baldoni was not involved. Full stop. Return to sender. Why the confusion? Why frame someone with such sloppy precision? Because if it wasn't set up, someone was clearly using the chaos to spin a narrative. Enter the fun part. Blind items, media smears, and PR chess moves. The question isn't what happened. It's who benefited. When things spin this fast, someone's at the control panel, sipping green juice and pulling strings. Suddenly, all eyes were on a Justin, and Blake Lively was back in headlines. Not for her influencer selfies or whimsical Met Gala looks, but for danger, drama, and oh-so-delicate victimhood. What began as a small misunderstanding became a full-blown Hollywood spectacle, a cautionary tale of misinformation, tabloid frenzy, and the sheer power of a name tossed into the rumor mill.
Your credit, you've now had to put yourself more out there, and you and your bedazzled spatula over at Existing to Thrive is now almost can we get her across 5,000 subscribers, guys? Hopefully after this video, you're going to head over to add Existing to Thrive and help boost her numbers, because in a good way, Blake helped you, right? It's definitely lifted you up and gotten you more attention. It's weird how this stuff sort of backfires. It's like Jimmy Kimmel last night had his biggest ratings of all time, which was the complete opposite of what they were trying to do to him. It is interesting how sometimes it goes away. Are you surprised by the reactions?
I am surprised, but I was hoping that, I would try to make a bet, like, get the positive out of this. I kept going back of like, if Kim can do it, I can do it. Of like, if she can make, a bad situation in her favor, it's like, you got to just bite the bullet, ride the wave, and see what happens. So I am thankful for Blake that she did at least kind of give me more of my voice, because before I was more kind of muzzling what I said, and now I'm just like, okay, if you came at me for that, then I'm going full hard.
So, who exactly was pulling the strings here? Let's start with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's relatable power couple, always ready with a witty Instagram post or a clever tweet just when the PR machine needs a little boost. Cute online, but behind the scenes? Calculated to the max. Then, just days before the alleged break-in, Taylor Swift's team announces her stalker has vanished, missing, off the grid, supposedly dangerous. Cue dramatic violin screech. Fast forward, and suddenly there's a reported break-in near Travis Kelce's home, perfectly timed with a Chiefs game. Meanwhile, Taylor shows up in the VIP box, shielded behind bulletproof glass, because nothing screams normal football girlfriend quite like a spy movie setup in Arrowhead Stadium. But if the stalker was truly a threat, why even appear? And why wasn't Andrea Swift, Mama Bear herself, there? Everyone knows she's VIP central in Swiftie culture. Safety or theater? That's the question. The timelines, the media leaks, the optics, it all screams crisis management. Zoom out, and the whole episode looks less like a real crime and more like a choreographed narrative reset. But here's the kicker. Out of all the potential targets in this glittering Hollywood and sports storm, the legal squad went after one person, Ken. One subscriber. No clout, no following, just vibes. So why her? That's where the rabbit hole begins. Ken, a Kansas content creator with exactly one lonely subscriber on YouTube, uploads a simple video into the void, probably thinking maybe her mom and Kat will watch. And suddenly, she's in the crosshairs of Blake Lively's legal team, as if she were leaking classified Hollywood secrets. One subscriber, one subpoena, and a perfectly orchestrated media storm lurking above it all. What seems like chaos. Maybe it's just calculated theater, and Ken unknowingly stumbled into the stage. The real question, why her? And who's really calling the shots behind this tangled web of celebrity, optics, and alleged danger? The deeper you dig, the murkier it gets.
Blake is going to do exactly what she did to all of us, is she's going to withdraw at the very last minute, but it's going to be like the most inconvenient last minute that she can possibly do. So whether it's the day of the court hearing or the night before, I feel like that's when she's going to just like pull out and then play victim of, I had to, just pull out because this was way too hard on me. It was causing too much stress and it was hard on my family. So I just had to end it. And then people are obviously just going to take her side and roll with it instead of looking at all the details.
Cute, harmless, barely a blip on the algorithm. Meanwhile, over on TikTok, Ken's got over 10,000 followers and real engagement. So naturally, when Blake Lively's team decided to launch legal missiles, they hit YouTube, not TikTok, not Twitter, not Reddit, but YouTube. Make it make sense. It was like showing up with a wrecking ball to demolish a dollhouse. If the real concern was misinformation, wouldn't you target the platform with actual reach? Instead, they subpoenaed Ken's Google account like she was running an underground smear campaign from her Kansas living room. Even Ken was like, what? No warning, no explanation, just cold, clinical legal action and an internet-sized migraine. And here's the worst part. Nobody believed her. Lawyers thought it was a prank. Media rolled their eyes. Even she questioned her own reality. Classic gaslight, gatekeep. Girl boss energy from Team Blake. Imagine screaming into the void while the people with power pretend not to hear you, all because she posted a video. It was bullying, plain and simple. PR and Prada targeting the little guy because they assumed she'd be too small, too scared, or too invisible to fight back. But oh, they picked the wrong girl, because while Blake's team tried to silence Ken, all they did was hand her a spotlight. And Ken knew exactly how to use it. Funny how censorship works. Sometimes it shuts people up. Sometimes it gives them a megaphone. Blake's legal squad thought they were throwing a quiet wrench into some random girl's weekend. Serve the papers, scare her into silence, and move on. Plot twist. Ken didn't back down. She blew up. The subpoena became a launch pad. Instead of curling up, she cranked up the volume. Oh, you wanted attention? Let's give them a show. The internet listened. Her YouTube channel grew. Her TikTok surged. Her Instagram DMs flooded with support, tea, and collab offers. The moment she stopped censoring herself, her voice cut through the noise. People rallied. They saw through the intimidation, media games, and celebrity smoke mirrors. They backed the girl with the spatula and the receipts, not the Hollywood glam squad throwing lawsuits like confetti. And the irony? It was Blake's own team that handed Ken the clout. They made her. She didn't just survive the smear, she thrived on it. But don't get too comfy, Upper East Side. While Ken basked in her viral glow, the drama isn't over. One more twist awaits. Subpoenas are messy. Court battles are messier. Will Blake fight all the way, or ghost before the spotlight gets too hot? Dragging someone to court is easy in couture with crisis PR reps, but staying there is a whole different red carpet. Ken bets on a classic Hollywood cop-out. Blake pulls the plug at the last second, delivering a tearful, "This has been so hard on my family" monologue. Cue soft lighting and sad piano, but walking away isn't clean. Dropping the case could torpedo her whole victim narrative and open the door for Justin to counterattack. Blake may be America's cheekbone queen, but even she can't contour around legal fees, bad optics, and public humiliation. Justin, patient but ready, waits. Now it's standoff. Ego versus cost. Will Blake and Ryan risk millions and their polished image to contain this circus, or ghost the case and hope the public forgets? The final move in this tabloid chess match is coming, and someone's reputation is about to be checkmated. Who knew a girl with 1 subscriber and a sparkly spatula could tear through a celebrity-crafted fairy tale? Ken had no PR team, no blue checkmark, barely an audience, but she had questions, receipts, and guts. In a world where fame buys silence, one voice refused to play along and exposed how fragile Hollywood's facade really is. Behind the filters and friendly interviews lies a world where lawsuits are scare tactics and PR is weaponized like a designer clutch. Media doesn't fact-check, it hits publish. Truth is optional. Narrative is scripted. S.O. Was this break-in story a real security scare or a perfectly timed PR play to sway opinion? Chaos or choreography?
We leave that to you.
One nobody shone a spotlight on cracks in the castle walls. Now it's your turn. Was Ken targeted? Was Justin framed? Did Blake's team go too far? Or was this just messy designer drama? The tea is on the table, and the court of public opinion is in session.